Hello, everybody. Welcome, one and all, to another one of these fucking things that I'm doing. Yeah, I've been, a lot of people on my channel follow me from Stretford Paddock. They will know that I am a massive Manchester United fan, and so I have been doing one or two tactical kind of previews of the football games, and that's literally what this is. So welcome to everybody that's watching. Hello if you are watching for the first time. It isn't all this. I've got loads of like pure stand-up as well that you can by all means watch. But yeah, this is basically going to be a video where we talk about Manchester United versus RB Leipzig tomorrow. So say hello if you're watching this for the first time, by the way, just like Danny Luxford has done. Good evening, how are you tonight? I am not too bad, Danny. I am not too bad at all. By the way, I've been told that I have Super Chat enabled on this. You don't have to, but I'd really like to know if it works. So if somebody wants to chuck me a super chat, then that would be great, and at least I'd know that it's not a technical reason that people aren't giving me money. It's purely because I'm shit. Anyway, let's get cracking with this because there's loads of stuff that I want to talk about. So, Man United versus Leipzig is what we going to be focusing on. Hello to Andy Galbraith, who's just joined. We're going to be looking at 5 sort of things that I'm going to break down. And you can see that I've put it in the side over here. So the first thing that we're going to be looking at is, should United be starting Cavani? My answer to that is hell yes. Is this the game for Donny van der Beek? And my answer to that again is hells yes. Recap of the Chelsea game, which is going to be a big old hell no. How our starting 11 should look, or how I would play our starting 11, and the game prediction, how I see the game panning out. I have been toying about whether or not to do a how I see, how I play the starting 11 and how I imagine or anticipate Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to play the starting 11. But the reality of the situation is I just don't know. And I'd hate to make a prediction on something that I have literally no idea about, because it's so easy for people to just cut it up and, oh, what an idiot. So I'm just sticking safe. I'm sticking with what I know. Feel free, by the way, to get involved in the chat. I am more than happy to talk and answer any questions what anybody may have. But yeah, other than that, let's get fucking cracking with this. So, by the way, I should point out that if you haven't already, then please make sure that you give us a subscribe on this. It's dead easy. It only takes 2 seconds out of your day. And by subscribing, you are helping me to grow the channel. It's a really easy thing that you can do that genuinely takes no effort on your part at all. Click subscribe, click the notification bell. Then that way, not only will I carry on doing these tactical analysis things if you enjoy them, but also I will keep uploading stand-up videos, and it's a great way of me being able to push my stand-up to a large audience. Right, okay, with that bollocks out of the way, let's talk about our first sticking point, which is Edinson Cavani. Should United be starting him? What do we think in the chat? Feel free to get involved with your own opinions. For me personally, this is a game that Edinson Cavani should be starting in, and I'll tell you for why. Now, ordinarily, when a new signing comes into a team, there is a expectation, if you like, that that signing should play straight away, that they should come straight into the team and they should make an immediate impact because we've spent God knows how much money on him. And that really only happens with a select few signings, your Bruno Fernandeses of the world maybe, but a lot of times even some of the very best players in the world do need time to bed in, if they ever do at all. Now, Edinson Cavani's no different, and he's 33 years old, so you had to really sort of look at his match fitness and how well he's integrated into the team, and that's probably why we haven't seen him for the first few games of the season. However, when he came on against Chelsea, man looked sharp. He looked incredibly with it. He looked totally focused, and you could see he almost scored with practically his first touch of the game. So really, there's no question about how ready Edinson Cavani is for top flight football, because he has kind of already shown it in the brief cameo that he played last week. He is ready to play in the team. Now, putting Edinson Cavani into the starting 11 for the game against Leipzig is more than just a vanity thing. A vanity thing. What? It's more than just putting him in there based on his name alone. This is a game that is made for him. One of Edinson Cavani's biggest strengths is that he is a pressing forward. He is somebody who will seek to harass and to press opposition defenders. And if you look back at the highlights of Leipzig's game where they lost over 2 legs against Paris Saint-Germain, one of the key things that PSG did was they pressed their forwards. They used their forwards, I should say, to press Leipzig's backline early and often. You wouldn't believe it based on the performance that PSG gave against United, where the forwards looked completely disinterested in pressing. But usually they will press against Leipzig, especially. They pressed and they gave Leipzig's defenders very little time on the ball, and that was what was key to their success. Edinson Cavani is a pressing forward. He is somebody who, first of all, even at 33 years old, has still got a lot of stamina, a lot of running in him, but also knows when to press, how to effectively press, how to cut off the passing lanes to make it more difficult for the defenders to distribute the ball. And that is what is going to be key to beating this Leipzig side. Leipzig are a team that like to get the ball forward quickly. They move vertically throughout the field. They're not a team that just keeps hold of possession for possession's sake. They transition quickly, and having a player like Cavani in at the front who will press all day long, who will cut off those passing lanes, is going to be vital. This is not the game, need I say it, this is not the game for Anthony Martial, because that's not where he excels. I love Anthony Martial, I think he's a fantastic player, but that is not his side of the game, pressing and cutting off passing lanes. He's gotten better at it recently, but his defensive side of the game leaves a lot to be desired, and we need, in a game like this, to defend from the front, which is why Cavani would be a great starter for United. Also as well, think about how much Champions League experience somebody like Edinson Cavani brings to the team. You know, I mean, I think that's overrated sometimes because, you know, United do have a vastly experienced squad. You know, you look at players like, Harry Mcguire and Paul Pogba. There's experience throughout that side. But with Cavani, you've got somebody who's been in the Champions League for 10, 12 years. You've got somebody who has got a pedigree at that level. Butthered. I'm going to go ahead and say that's how you pronounce that name. Evening, Freddie. Cavani looking good in training, doesn't say much, but he does look good in training. He looked good against Chelsea when he came on. He's ready for this game. And also, because he's a pressing forward, because he's a forward that likes to get right up in the opposition defenders' faces and press them and not allow them any time on the ball, which is crucial to stopping Leipzig, I think that it is a game that it's got his name all over it. Surely he should be starting. Surely. If not for this, then for what game? But yeah, that's where I stand. Let me know in the comments if you think the same. Let me know in the comments if you think differently. But for that reason, that's why Edinson Cavani should be starting tomorrow. Now, onto the topic of Donny van de Beek. I am dying to see Donny. I am literally dying to see this man. It's almost like I've been teased with him by Solskjaer. He's just kind of, it's almost like he's using him as foreplay. Do you know, just sort of like getting the anticipation up and then denying us. Look, this is, again, we talked about how it's key to stop RB Leipzig by pressing them early and high up the pitch. And Donny van de Beek is a superb presser of the ball. He is excellent off the ball, and it has to be the game for him. This has to be the kind of game that he starts. He would relish something like this. Before we talk very quickly about how Van der Beek should be playing, let me quickly plug the subscribe button. You can click subscribe on this YouTube video, and I will do way more videos for you, and you'll get to see all of my stand-up videos as well as seeing the tactical analysis videos, and you'll get notified if you click the bell as well. How cool is that? So yeah, Donny van de Beek should be starting, and for me personally, this tactical analysis video was sponsored by Coca-Cola. For me personally, he should be starting as a number 10, or if you like, the highest midfielder up the pitch. I wouldn't put him in the. I wouldn't put him too far back in the middle again, because when United, I'm assuming here, I'll show you the formation that I have got briefly. But for me personally, I would push Donny van de Beek up the pitch and get him pressing and cutting off Leipzig straight away. Look at, and I've put a link in the video, by the way. I've put a few links in the video. First of all, I've put a link in about how Leipzig like to play, how Nagelsmann likes to set the team up. I put a link into a tactical analysis video about how Leipzig beat Tottenham 3-0 last season, and I also put a tactical analysis in about how PSG were able to dominate Leipzig with relative ease. And one of the key things that PSG did that Tottenham didn't, which is to engage with a press nice and high up the pitch. Leipzig are a vertical team. They will, by all means, they will create central overloads and they will pass vertically, and the whole thing is move that ball nice and quick up the pitch, little interchanges. And you need clever, intelligent players that are aware of space to press them and to stop them from playing the way that they want to play. And for that reason, Donny van de Beek is going to be crucial. And I would say, don't shoot the messenger here, but I would say that this is not the game for Paul Pogba. For Paul Pogba. Well, it probably isn't the game for Paul Pogba with pressing. But I would say that this is not the game for Bruno Fernandes. Now, I'm a huge fan of Bruno Fernandes. This is nothing to do with his ability. This is purely a decision to rest him based on how many minutes he's already accumulated in the Premier League. The dude has got to be tired by now. I think he's our only attacking player that's so far played every single game. He's just got too many minutes. Give him a rest, let Donny play his position. I guarantee you he will be just as good, if not better, especially in this game where it is all about the press and pressing them high up the pitch and not letting Leipzig play the way that they want to play. So I am totally for Donny van de Beek starting. In fact, I would go as far as to say that I can't think of a reasonable reason as to why he shouldn't start. If we're going to beat Leipzig, we need forwards or forward-thinking players who will press from the off. And as much as I like Fernandes, it's not really his natural game, and he's played loads in the first 6, 7, 8 games. So give him a rest and bring Donny in. This has to be the game for him. It has to be. But third says 3-5-2. Mate, you have read my mind. I will come to it in a minute on how I want to play or how I want to see United play. But very briefly, let's talk about United versus Chelsea. Oh, Jesus. So, look, on the face of it, we did not get a bad result against Chelsea. They finished level on points with us last season. They have spent hundreds of millions of pounds more than we have. They have recruited a brand new team. And so therefore, in some respects, you might look at that and think a draw is, if not a fair result, then a result that certainly, we would take. However, if you look at that game, I'm sorry, but Chelsea offered absolutely nothing. They were there for the taking. And surprise, 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 what did United do? We set up with that fucking 4-2-3-1 formation that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer seems to stick with through thick and thin, despite the fact it does not get the best out of our players. And for the first hour of that game, we were second best to Chelsea, who quite frankly weren't offering an awful lot. It was only when he changed the system up and went 4-3-3, it was only with the introduction of, Pogba and Cavani that we really started to kick on in that game and we started to create chances. And I'll tell you what, for the last 20 minutes of that game, there was only one team in it, and it was us. And so you think that if we'd have played like that from the offset, we'd have won that game. So I can't help looking at it and thinking it's 2 points lost, because that game was there for us to be won. So I don't know. I was just really disappointed that Solskjaer binned the 3-5-2 as quickly as he did, went straight back to 4-2-3-1, and it was just so it was insipid. It was uninspiring. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's just me. Let me know what you think in the comments. I've got a few people watching this. Buttered is getting involved loads. Buttered. And is saying, I don't think it was a boring game. I'll agree with you. I don't think it was a boring game either. It was a tactical game, and I think that both teams came with the mindset that they weren't going to lose. Do you know what I mean? I think that, I mean, a classic example is the fact that we played Daniel James, who is absolutely dog shit. The only thing that Dan James really offers is the ability to work his fucking arse off. And that's all he does, is he works his fingers to the bone for the cause. You can't fault that. But he runs around like a dog in a park. Do you know what I mean? There's loads of energy, but there's absolutely nothing up here thinking. And sometimes you've got to work smart, not hard. And I don't know whether or not Dan James, to be honest with you, he's, in my opinion, he's a Welsh Theo Walcott. Plenty of pace, plenty of intent, but absolutely nothing up here as far as a football brain goes, and no end product whatsoever. We seriously need another starting winger. Young Dan James still not ready, works hard, okay. Yeah, I agree with that in the chats. He's not, to be honest with you, from what I've seen, he's not Manchester United quality. And if he was 18, 19, I'd turn around and go, he's got a lot of potential, but he's 23 now. At what point are you going to have to look at the fact that his technical skills are severely limited, and you're going to have to say, listen, he's not developing quickly enough. I mean, when we bought him, it was always somebody who wasn't the finished article, and it was somebody who could grow into a good player, but he hasn't, in my opinion, he hasn't got any better in the time that he's been at United. If anything, he's a bit worse than when he came. So you have to think, well, if we bought him for his potential and for his growth, and he's actually going backwards or staying the same, then how much longer do we give him before we give someone else a chance? And that's something that you've got to consider. Anyway, before I crack onto the starting 11 and how I would set up against RB Leipzig, Let's quickly give a quick shout out to all the people that are watching. Hello to everybody that has liked the channel. Hello to everybody that is supporting it and getting involved. It is very much appreciated. If you want to, by the way, you can show us your support by sending a super chat to us. I don't really know what a super chat does. I'm just really keen to try it out. So yeah, let's get involved in this now. Let's have a quick look at how the starting 11 should work. So this is the starting 11 that I have gone with. Please tell me what you think of it in the comments. Please let me know if the starting 11 that you would have is similar. Let me know if you would go with something completely different. Let me know if you think that this looks amazing, a great formation, or whether or not you think it looks like a load of bollocks. Let me quickly go through now and tell you exactly why I'm going to be choosing this. So, first of all, Leipzig are a team that like to play through the middle. And so therefore it makes sense to me to stack the middle of the park, hence this formation. Also as well, Leipzig will press high up the pitch. Leipzig will press high up the pitch, and so by having Shaw, Mcguire and Lindelof and Wan-Bissaka and Telles on the wings, and with the potential of Matic dropping deep, you've got loads of passing options there. Loads and loads and loads. Also, with somebody like Paul Pogba, he can get caught out in the press. So he is somebody who, if he starts, Leipzig might want to target with their pressing. However, by targeting him, they'll be leaving other people open. And say what you want about Pogba, he can find a pass, can't he? Telles provides a lot of attacking width on the left-hand side, especially with Cavani, who's a fantastic header of the ball, and Telles is a fantastic crosser of the ball. There's a attacking option there. And down the right-hand side, we've got Wan-Bissaka as well. And the reason that I've gone with Wan-Bissaka on the right-hand side, apart from the fact that he is our best right-back, is because one of PSG's biggest threats comes from the left back, or I should say left wing back, Angelino. You might have seen him from his time at City. But yeah, I don't know why I did that then. I just... Angelino is a huge player for Leipzig. He will get really high up the pitch, and he will cause a lot of problems. Having Wan-Bissaka on him will severely limit his impact in the game, and I think it is about taking away one of their biggest weapons. Remember, Angelino scored both the goals against Istanbul in the last Champions League game. That is how you pronounce it, by the way. Look it up. Angelino scored both those goals. He's a real attacking threat. Wan-Bissaka doesn't offer much going forward, but defensively he's a unit, and he's had 2 amazing games against PSG and Newcastle, so man be flying right now. So that's how I would line up across the back. Also as well, Shaw, Mcguire and Lindelof. Now Mcguire and Lindelof, you're probably thinking, well, why not Tuanzebe? Why not? He played really well against PSG, and he did. 2 reasons why not Tuanzebe. Number 1, he's just come back from a long-term injury. Don't want to rush him. And number 2, Leipzig are a team that will press high up the pitch. You need defenders who are comfortable on the ball. And Mcguire, Lindelof and Luke Shaw are quite good. In fact, they're very good on the ball, beating the press, finding a pass, progressing the ball when needs be. And so you're protecting yourself against the way that Leipzig like to play. Also as well, I have gone with Nemanja Matic and Pogba in the middle. Now, Nemanja Matic and Pogba together as part of a 4-2-3-1 is a recipe for disaster, because neither of them like doing the running back that's needed. But when you've got an extra centre-back like this, you've got a little bit more protection for your back line. Also, Pogba and Matic are both very good at receiving the ball from defenders and progressing it along, which is what will be absolutely vital towards beating Leipzig and their high press. Van der Beek in there as well. What I would like to see is when United don't have the ball, I would actually like to see Van der Beek higher up the pitch, almost alongside Greenwood and Cavani, so that Van der Beek can press as part of a three and really go at the three centre-backs of Leipzig. That's what I'd like to see. Telles and Wan-Bissaka advancing the ball. That would look good to me, really. I think Van der Beek is key here in that position, partly as a number 10. And that's why you should play Van der Beek over Fernandes as well. Not just to give Fernandes a bit of a rest, but also because Van der Beek will get up that pitch and he will press right in opposition faces, which is something that Fernandes isn't really keen on doing. He will do it because Fernandes is a fantastic, unselfish player that does anything for the team, but it's not where he excels best. Also as well, if you look at this team at the moment, you have yourselves an awful lot of creativity there. You've got Pogba and Van der Beek, who are two incredibly creative players who have a license to push up and to cause problems and to cause overloads and numerical advantages. They're attack-minded players, whereas Matic can just sit back. Telles can get up as well. It's an attack-minded team. Now, one or two people are asking, particularly in the chat, they're saying, interesting lineup, Greenwood ahead of Martial. So, I would not play Anthony Martial in this game. I think he will start. I think he will. But I wouldn't play him in this game because this requires pressing forwards to constantly exert pressure on the opposition back line, and that is not something that is particularly Van der Beek. That's not something that's particularly Martial's game. He doesn't like the defensive aspect of things. He doesn't really like tracking back. You'd see it when he was out on the left wing sometimes. Wasn't really a big fan of tracking back. Wasn't a fan of the pressing aspect. Greenwood has not played in a long old while, and he has got fresh legs. Fresh 18-year-old supple boy legs. Let him do all the pressing. Him, Van der Beek and Cavani pushing up nice and high and pressing. Also as well, Greenwood will naturally drift out and provide a bit of width. So what you can also have is a situation where Greenwood will drift out onto the right-hand side and Telles will push forward onto the left-hand side, and Pogba and Van der Beek will come forward. And I think his interchangeability and his ability to play out on the wings will mean that he would play well in this game. Don't get me wrong, that's how I would play, but I think that they'll play with Martial. And for me, like I said, the time that Greenwood's been off, he's going to be young, he's going to be hungry, he's going to be full of running, and that is exactly what we need. Now, there is also the issue around playing Pogba, that he's not going to press and he's not going to harass and harangue as much as some other players. I wouldn't play Fernandes purely because I think the role that Pogba is going to play is going to be a role of dropping back and receiving the ball from the defenders and being a passing option. For that reason, if we're not going to play Pogba, I would play Fred, who is very good at receiving the ball from the defenders, is a ball carrier, has a nice pass to him, and can beat a press. For me personally, I think it's a case of Van der Beek or Fernandes, and I think you should be starting Van der Beek because he's fresher and because of his pressing attributes. Taufik has said Solskjaer will not drop Martial and Rashford. You're right, Taufik. I'm not saying that this is how I think. This is how I think United will line up. I'm saying this is how I would personally line United up. I can't second guess what Solskjaer is going to do, especially after last week. I was pretty confident that he was going to stick with a 3-5-2, and he went straight back to 4-2-3-1. So I'm not going to guess how he will line up. This is how I would do it. I think personally, Martial would not be right for this game. As I've mentioned, in order to beat Leipzig, in order to look at how, if you look at how PSG beat Leipzig last year in the Champions League, and there is a link to that in the description if you want to watch it. They engaged with the press nice and high up on Leipzig's defenders. Now, Leipzig usually play with a 3-4-3 as well. So I think that matching them in this sense is really important. And if you have Van der Beek, Greenwood and Cavani all pressing. Now, Cavani has made his career as a pressing forward. Van der Beek is excellent at pressing. And Greenwood is 18. He's been rested for ages and he's got loads of running in him. I think that that is the best pressing team that United can have. Rashford, I think, could do with a breather. Fernandes definitely needs a breather. Fernandes has played every game so far. He's knackered. He needs a breather. And this is exactly the sort of game where Van der Beek can come in and make a huge impact. This is the thing that Solskjaer has to learn. You have to rotate your squad. Otherwise, it's pointless. In order to get the best out of your players, you have to rotate them. You have to provide them with a few games off. Again, I am not predicting Solskjaer's lineup. I'm saying this is how I would go about doing it. I can predict Solskjaer's lineup if you want. I think what he is going to do is he is going to play a 4-2-3-1, like he did against Chelsea, and I think he's going to struggle under that regard. And yeah, I honestly think he'll do Shaw, Lindelof, Mcguire, Wan-Bissaka, and then he'll have Fred and McTom in the middle, and then he'll have Fernandes, and then maybe Greenwood on the right, Rashford on the left, Martial up front, and sort of do a standard team of the end of last season that he was so fond of doing. I hope he doesn't. I hope he engages tactically and change things up. Tafiq's made a very interesting point. He said, to be honest, I was more confident against PSG than Leipzig. They like to press high, and this is our weakest point. Yeah, I see what you mean, but the reason that we are susceptible to high pressing usually is because we don't play the right system. If you look individually, Tafiq, at these players, Mcguire is good on the ball, Lindelof is good on the ball, Shaw is good on the ball, especially progressing forwards. Pogba can pick a pass, and should be beating a press every time. Same with Van der Beek. Matic is calm in possession. He just doesn't like runners coming past him. We should have a spine of a team that is capable of withstanding a high press. It's just whether or not we want to, we want to play this way. Also, as well, while we're at it, another really good thing about playing Pogba and Telles and Cavani in the same team is that they can all pick a long pass. Telles and Pogba can pick a long pass, and Cavani is very dominant aerially, and that is a really good way of beating a high pressing team. You used to see it a lot a few years ago when United played Liverpool, and Liverpool used to do the Gegenpress under Klopp. Not so much now, where they would press aggressively and really, really high, and all United would do is they would play Fellaini, and we would just hoof it up to Fellaini, who would use his incredible ability of chesting the ball to bring it down, and just like that we beat the press. And then I remember one game specifically when United went to play Fellaini, and do the same as we always do, and Liverpool just didn't press us, and we had no idea. We had no idea what to do. It was the weirdest fucking game. Might be more prudent to save breaks for the bigger players like Rashi, Fernandes, etc. for cup games. Yeah, Ole needs to take this opportunity to rotate his squad. Now, rotating your squad can mean that you field worse players, but I think in this instance, what he's actually going to be doing is he's going to be fielding players that are more suited to the task at hand. Van der Beek is suited to pressing and off-the-ball movement. Cavani is very suited to pressing. Greenwood hasn't had a game in ages and is a great player. Telles is fresh and looked bright when he came into the team. These players have to be integrated. If not, there's no point in having them, and we're going to be fucking knackered by December. Just a quick shout out to everybody that's watching, by the way. Make sure that you subscribe and hit the notifications bell. I'm doing loads more of these live tactical videos, and they're going really well at the moment. Plus, I've got loads of stand-up videos as well. So if you enjoy seeing these, help me out and chuck us a like. Chuck us a subscribe. So yeah, that's how I would play. That's how I think you get the most out of this team. I think that that's how you have a blueprint of a team that can cause Leipzig problems by pressing high up the pitch. Also, you will have a lot of options in the middle, which is where Leipzig like to play, and by having more bodies in the middle, it kind of negates that threat. Also, you're going to have Wan-Bissaka on Angelino, which is a great way of nullifying one of their best players. I mean, make no mistake about this. Leipzig are a poorer team for having lost Timo Werner, and I'm not sure about anybody that can say otherwise. They are a worse team for having lost him. But Julian Nagelsmann is a very tactically astute manager, and he will be able to absolutely decimate United if they are not, if they are naive tactically and they play that same 4-2-3-1 that just insipid and uninspiring. United need to look at how they can rejig their lineup to get the best out of their players, because the 4-2-3-1 does not work for us. It hasn't worked all this season. All of our worst performances have come with a 4-2-3-1. Fact. It's time we change some stuff up. Butherud says, not sure about Pogba working hard against the press. No, that is true. And one of the options is to potentially have Fred in the middle, who is going to work really hard against the press. But the Akil P has made a really good point here and put McTominay will start tomorrow. Otherwise, he wouldn't have attended the press conference today. I think Ole will go with the same team as PSG. Probably Mcguire will play in place of Lindelof. So I agree with what you're saying there, Akil, and I'd love to see him play the same team. But I think he will play both Mcguire and Lindelof because they are both really good on the ball. And when Leipzig like to play with a high press, like we know that they do, you need assured, confident ball players and your back line. And I just feel like Lindelof and Mcguire are a more assured partnership on the ball than Tuanzebe is. McTominay starting tomorrow, to be honest with you, isn't the worst idea in the world. The only thing I think is that with McTominay, you get somebody who is very keen, has a lot of running in him, is a big physical lad, you know, and always gives 110%. But is his quality on the ball there? I would say no. So if you have, let's say, the midfield three of Matic, Van der Beek and McTominay, then the only creative player we have there is Van der Beek. And that worries me, personally. I think it's always a worry just to have one creative outlet. Now, maybe you would go with Pogba, Van der Beek and McTominay, which I think is a good shout, but I think Matic hasn't played in a while. He's going to be fresh, and Matic's positional awareness is key in a game like this. Absolutely key, because he's going to need to drop back and provide passing options. And McTominay, for all his qualities, isn't the best up here. He's absolutely fine at running and chasing and tackling and being a disruptor. But I don't know whether or not he has, well, he certainly doesn't have the same level of tactical nous that Matic has. And when you're going to beat a press, particularly a high pressing press, like they like to play, I think that you are better off having Matic, who is a little bit sharper up here, personally. Now, if you think about the fact that McTominay is probably going to play tomorrow, then that does lead the question, what sort of formation is Ole planning? Akil P thinks that it's going to be the same team as PSG, which means 3 across the back, wing backs, 3 in the middle, and then Greenwood and Cavani. I would personally... Sorry, not Greenwood and Cavani, what am I on about? I would personally like to see Van der Beek in for Fernandes. Fernandes needs a break. He has accumulated. I wish I would have looked at just how many hours that Fernandes has already played, but he's played a ridiculous amount of games. Lof Nisip, hello to everybody, by the way, that's just joined or that is joining us recently. Just to let you know that this team here is not the team that I think Ole is going to play tomorrow. It is the team that I would personally play tomorrow. So Tofik has said, what do you think about 4-1-3-2? Fred, Pogba, Van der Beek and Bruno in midfield. We tried it against Newcastle in the last 15 minutes and we scored 3 goals. Let's see. I would say it depends how you're playing that, Tofik. Are you playing that in a diamond shape? If so, I have always said that I would like to see a diamond, but I think that when you're playing a midfield diamond, the number 10 in that diamond, the tip of the diamond, has to be the one that instigates the press. And so it has to be somebody like Van der Beek, because that's his massive, strength. And then you look in the mid and look at Pogba and Fernandes, and I don't think that there's enough tackling guile there. That's me personally. Fred, Pogba, Van der Beek and Bruno in midfield. I think another thing about that as well is that you leave yourself a little bit light on set pieces. Fred isn't good aerially, Van der Beek isn't particularly good aerially, and Bruno's not great at set pieces either. It's only Pogba that dominates there, and even then, Pogba's prone to switching off at the best of times. Lof Nisip has said, where is Fred and McTominay? So I would say, Lof Nisip, again, this is the team that I would play, not the team that I expect to play. I would say that Pogba could easily be substituted for Fred to give a little bit more dynamism, have somebody that's going to press off the ball, have somebody that's going to, try and beat the high press that Leipzig will want to instigate. However, I think that we are going to need Pogba's creativity along with Van der Beek. And because Van der Beek is a bit more defensively minded than Fernandes, I think that will give Pogba a little bit more license to, roam and do the things that he needs to do. Again, Akil has put, just to read out what you put in here, Akil, Martial would start most probably as he's not available for the game against Arsenal. Yeah, so this isn't the team that I think Ole will play. This is the team that I will play. And the reason that I wouldn't play Martial is because the way to beat Leipzig, as was shown last season by PSG, is to instigate a high press and to really put pressure on the 3-4-3 system that they like to play, specifically their 3 centre-backs, cut off those passing lanes and to stop them making the vertical passes through the middle that they like to play in. I've actually put a link in the description that shows exactly how PSG managed to beat Leipzig using this system. Cavani is a great presser. Van der Beek is a great presser, and off the ball I would push Van der Beek further up the pitch so that he can press the 3 centre-backs man on man. Martial is not a good presser off the ball. He's not somebody who's as good defensively. Greenwood has not played in a few weeks now. He's fresh, he's full of running, he's 18, and I would choose Greenwood for the energy that he can bring off the ball. It's not Martial's natural game. That's what I would do personally. Let's read what else Akil is putting. I don't think we need a midfield of Fred and McTominay if we play 3 at the back. I agree with you there, yeah. Van der Beek can play in place of McTominay, and I would start Pogba over Bruno in an advanced position. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So pretty much what we would be doing here, with the exception of sort of putting Pogba more advanced than Van der Beek. But the thing is, Akil, is that we need to instigate the press high up the pitch, and that is not Pogba's natural game. He's not a high up the pitch presser, and Van der Beek absolutely is. So that's why I would play him higher personally. Lof Nisip, let's have a look at this team that he's got against well, before we look at Lofnisip's team, I am going to be that guy that plugs his own YouTube channel. If you're enjoying this, if you're enjoying the tactical analysis, click subscribe, hit the notification bell. It's a really small thing that you can do, and it helps me out massively in terms of growing the channel. Also, I've got loads of stand-up comedy videos because I am a comedian full-time, and so I'll be plugging those, and it's a great way of you being able to support the channel. Literally, costs you fuck all. You just click 2 things, and it makes all the difference to you. Right, okay, let's have a look here. Lofnisip has put my team: De Gea, Lindelof, Mcguire, Telles. Okay, so that's a back 3. De Gea... Whoa, what? De Gea, Lindelof, Mcguire, Telles, Fred, McTominay, Van der Beek, Martial, Mata, Cavani. I swear we're missing a player there, aren't we? Right, okay, I'll assume he means Wan-Bissaka and a back 4. 4-2... well, that's a 4-3-3, really, isn't it? Mata's not going to be the right player for this, Lofnisip. I think you need more energy than what Mata can give, particularly on the right-hand side. I think Mata is too easily played around. Also, as well, Mata on the right-hand side will be against Angelino, who is the best player, and I just can't see that working myself. What formation would you put in, Lofnisip? How would that look? Oh, he said a 4-3-1-2. So 3 across the middle: Fred, McTominay, Van der Beek, Martial, Mata, Cavani. I don't think that Martial, Mata, Cavani are going to press high up the pitch against Leipzig's back 3, and that's the key to beating them. That's how you go ahead and beat them. Matt Trustain has put, have you heard Williams has been caught trying it on with a 14-year-old? No. Sorry, 15-year-old. Like, that makes all the difference. Like, that makes all the difference. Shut up. Matt, how do you know this, Matt? Aimer Khan has put, wow, your forehead is massive. Yeah, it is. I don't know what you want me to say. That's quite funny. I like that. Aimer Khan. If your name was Amir Khan, then your chin would be shite. I like it. I do have a big forehead. What can I say? All the better to headbutt you with, you prick. Okay, so Matt, tell us about this 15-year-old. I cannot put the pic on this. It's on Twitter. Right, okay. Well, bear with me a second, guys, because I am going to go right onto Twitter to Google to check for Williams' 15-year-old, because I have to see this. I tell you what, you are playing a risky game. You are playing Brandon Williams. Oh no, Brandon Williams, what is he doing? And at 20 as well. Oh my God. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, Matt, but I have now. Brandon Williams, you naughty boy. Thank you, Aimer. I like that you enjoyed the response, and I enjoyed the banter as well. Do feel free to give us a quick subscribe, by the way, guys. Just click the subscribe, click the notification bell. You get more video analysis from me, more tactical analysis, but also I'm a professional stand-up comedian, and you get loads of free stand-up comedy videos, which are all on my channel if you want to have a look. Lofnisip is saying, I want to make a big statement. Would you allow? Yeah, go for it. The reason that I do this is because I love chatting with other Man United fans, specifically from a tactical perspective. I'll tell you what I'll do is, now I have... Akil P has put, I agree with you on Van der Beek and Cavani offering more in terms of pressing the front. I would go De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Telles, Mcguire, Lindelof. So that's... Shaw, Fred, Van der Beek, Pogba, Rashford, Cavani. So really close to what I have got here, Akil, apart from Matic for Fred and Rashford for Cavani. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, to be honest with you, if Fred played, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And also as well, the only reason that I have put Greenwood in for Rashford is because I feel like Greenwood can do with a rest. I feel like Rashford could do with a rest. But yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying there, and I think that that would be a reasonable team to put out by all means. Very quickly, as we enter into the last 10 minutes of this, I want to talk about my game prediction for Manchester United versus Leipzig. Now, make no mistakes, this is a big old game. It absolutely is. Because whoever wins this basically has control of our group. Because if United win it, then we are looking at 6 points from our first 2 games, with our quote-unquote easiest game yet to come. Now, if you win your first 3 games, then you've qualified from the group. Do you know what I mean? Barring a fucking disaster, you've qualified from that group. If we can come away with a result against Leipzig, if we can come away with a win, we are absolutely in the driving seat. And we could qualify by beating Istanbul. That is how you pronounce it. We could qualify by beating them twice, which should be on paper a piece of Turkish piss. So if we get this game right, if we come away with a win here, we fucking qualified out the group. We've hammered it, and we're all in pole position to finish first. And also, we can rotate our squad a little bit. We can mix things up. So a win here would be absolutely massive. Similarly speaking, a draw would not be the worst thing in the world. Not by any means. Leipzig are a really good team. They are incredibly clever. They are inventive. And they have got players that will hurt us, quite frankly, if we're not careful. So I think that against a clever, wily, full of nous team like Leipzig, I would happily take a draw. Lof Nisip has said football is a 90-minute midfield constant battle. Centre defensive midfielder makes small mistakes. What matter is results. To a certain fan base who are looking to count small mistake of our 2 centre defensive midfielders, back off. Yeah, I can see what you mean, Lof. And I think the thing with United is that we do need... we look way more balanced with Fred and McSauce in the team, because we have ourselves a bit of an engine room. Whenever I see a 4-2-3-1 and I see Pogba and Matic in the middle, I know we are going to get battered, because there is not enough running in that midfield, and we just get overrun time after time after time. Now, part of that is down to the players, but a big part of that has to be down to the manager, quite frankly. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that those players under that system are not working. But yeah, I mean, I agree that there is a toxic element to the fan base, Lof. And I think that it's true with United as much as it's true with any big team, is that they will, there are certain members of a fan base that constantly look to complain and cause trouble and kick off. And I hope that I don't attract them on here. Tafik has said he will take a draw against Leipzig. Akil says... Nagelsmann is auditioning for the United job. He's already been saying how much he loved watching United when he was young, blah, blah, blah. I think Julian Nagelsmann is a fantastic young coach. Here is something that you might not know about Julian Nagelsmann that I will tell you, is that he was one of the very first managers to pioneer drone technology during training sessions. And this is whilst he was at Hoffenheim. What he would do is he would have drones. He would literally pay people to man these drones, and the drones would be up in the air playing, recording the action, the training session. And then if he saw something he didn't like, he would stop, and he would have a massive screen on the ground where he could point out exactly where players had gone wrong, like in real time. He was one of the first managers to do that. I think it's becoming more commonplace now, but what a clever, inventive use of technology. That's the kind of thing that you get with a young, innovative coach. Can you imagine Roy Hodgson doing that with drones? Not a chance. So let's see. There's quite a lot of agreement from Butherud about Nagelsmann. I think the general consensus is that a draw against Leipzig will be a good result. I think so as well. I think a 0-0 or a 1-1 will be a good result. If United can nick a 1-0, oh my gosh, that would be a fantastic result. As long as we don't get beat. Because if we get beat, then Leipzig are in the driving seat, and all of a sudden it's us or PSG, and we don't want to be in that position. So for me personally, I would love a win. I would definitely take a draw. Leipzig are a really good team. Nagelsmann's a really good manager. But I hope that United are playing with 3 at the back, and I hope that we play Donny van de Beek for his pressing ability and Cavani for his pressing ability, not just because we've signed them and you should play players that you sign, because they are genuinely made for this game. They're going to be fantastic. Let me know what you think, by the way. If you've been watching this, let me know what you think in the comments. I try and get back to as many people that bother commenting, because it just seems like the nice thing to do. And also, last time, if you've enjoyed this, click subscribe and click the notification bell. It literally takes 1 second to do. You'll get notifications from me when I go live. And also, I'm a stand-up comic, so I've got loads of videos on this channel that you can check out, and you'll get updated when I post new videos on. That is enough from me, and I will see you hopefully for the next United